Welcome to Stories My Mother Told Me. The title of today's story is Henschel and Gretel. A long time ago, there lived a wealthy man named Richard. He had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The boy's name was Henschel, and he was 10, and his sister's name was Gretel. She was only 6 years old. Their mother had passed away after a brief illness, and their father remarried a woman named Anna. Anna was a very wicked woman who pretended to be a kind-hearted person. She was mainly interested in his wealth. Anna had been married to several rich men within the past 10 years, and they all ended up dying, leaving all their wealth to her. She always targets rich men, and as soon as she secured her position in the house, they die. The only difference with Richard and the other men was that he's got kids. Anna had no idea Richard had any children at the time she made him her target. But eventually, she realized, because he told her he's got 2 kids. This crushed her, but it was too late to recede, and she was blinded by greed. Soon after they were married, she gained total control of the whole household, and she became the woman in charge. She made them both do chores that were meant for big kids. She barely feeds them, and she hits them a lot. You may begin to wonder, where is their dad when she does all of that? Well, all of these maltreatments were happening under his very nose. But strangely, he couldn't do anything about it. He will watch his kids cry every day, and even when Gretel will complain directly to him, he will say, "My kids, you know how much I love you. Please do as your mom says. Only then can she be nice to you." One day, Anna asked the kids to go get some groceries from the market. Richard was stunned and opposed the idea. "They are just kids," he blurted out. "Do you not have a heart? Enough of your bully. I will not tolerate any harsh treatments towards the kids anymore." Anna was aghast. When she turned around, she saw the kids watching. Her eyes turned red and she flared up. She started chasing after the kids with a whip, but Richard managed to stop her. She said that he had ignited the fire in her and that the kids will be punished with an iron fist henceforth. Richard pleaded and asked for forgiveness. He confessed that he didn't know what came over him, and he should be the one to bear the brunt and not the kids. After much plea, she forgave him and asked for a date, which they went. The kids, on the other hand, saw their father's reaction as a sign of relief. Gretel asked with joy, "Are we going to be treated kindly and eat good food and also spend time with our daddy like we've always done?" Henschel, who saw how the whole scenario eventually played out, said with tears in his voice, "Maybe, just maybe. But even if things never return to normal, know that I will always be here for you. You will remain my responsibility. I will never leave you, my sister, and you will always be my dearest baby sis." She noticed the tears in his voice and asked him what the matter was, but he smiled and shrugged, and they both snuck into their bedroom. Later that night, the couple returned from their date and sat in the living room chatting away. Anna, taking advantage of Richard's drunken state, asked that they throw the kids out in the morning. She said this would be her only compensation for what happened earlier that day. Richard was bewildered and he said he'd never do such. She reminded him of his promise to love and how he had embarrassed her in front of the kids, and kicking them out of the house will be her only quittance. Richard pleaded and asked that the kids be punished in a different way. But as with every case, she got the upper hand and agreed that his kids be thrown out. All this while, Henschel was eavesdropping and he heard the entire conversation. The next nut to crack will be how to drive them away without drawing the attention of neighbors. Anna said she already planned it all. Now here is a plan. So we're gonna pack for a family camping to the woods and tell the kids we will be going camping as a family. Once we get deep into the woods, we would spend time with them, and while they are having a swell time, we would slowly abandon them and return home. I am certain they will not be able to find their way back. Richard was trembling, but at the same time concurred to the plan. Henschel gasped for breath and hurriedly went into their room. He woke his sister up and told her everything he heard, and she started crying. Henschel comforted her and told her not to worry, that they will be fine. He told her he has a plan and they should start working immediately. That night, neither of them slept. They spent the entire night cutting papers and packing their dried snacks. Morning finally came, and Anna announced to the kids that the whole family was going for camping. The kids showed their excitement and went inside to pack the bags. Anna asked them that they don't pack anything other than a change of clothes, as she already has everything planned. So they went inside and carried their already packed bag. As soon as everyone was ready for the trip, they set out. On the way, as they walked, Henschel was lagging behind and throwing white papers on the way. He did this till they got deep inside the woods. They settled, unpacked, and started spending time together. The father did all he could to bond with the kids, as he knew this would probably be the last time he'd see them. After some time, Anna said they were going to get more firewood for the fire, and the kids immediately knew it was time for them to leave. As soon as they left, Gretel kept telling her brother that she is sure their dad will come back for them. Dad cannot leave us to die, she says. They remained hopeful and started counting hours upon hours. And when it was almost dark, Gretel became frightened. Then Henschel told her of his plans to get them out. He told her the essence of the sliced paper was to create a track to lead them home. Soon, she stopped crying and they started their way back home. They carefully followed the tracks of the paper and it led them home. When they got home, they met their father sitting dejected outside their house. And as soon as he saw them, he screamed and ran to embrace them. He asked them how they were able to find their way home, but the kids did not say anything to him. Anna heard the shouting and came out. She was shocked to see them and asked them the same question. But again, the kids did not respond. Later that night, Anna was so pissed that she couldn't sleep. She thought about what she would do about the kids, and she decided to go to bed and brainstorm while she sleeps. Richard pleaded and asked that she let the kids stay, but she insisted on doing things her way. So again that night, she told Richard that they are going to do the same thing. Take them to the woods and leave them there again. Henschel, who already knew the plans, cut more papers and hid them in his bag. The following weekend, the whole family set out again for a field trip in the woods. As they walked, Henschel began doing the same thing, deliberately throwing the papers along the way so he can use it as a track back home. A couple hours after they arrived in the woods, Anna and the father said they were going to get firewood, and they left the kids again. After they left, the kids decided to wait till the sunlight dimmed before leaving. Unknown to them, there was a heavy windstorm and it blew all the papers away. They couldn't figure out how to get out of the woods. They tried to guess which way it was, but there was no clear path to follow. The more they tried, the farther into the forest they went. The once familiar trees seemed to close in around them, leaving them disoriented and lost. It soon dawned on them that they are lost. Fear crept into their hearts and panic set in. Henschel tried to calm Gretel and assured her that he's gonna fix it. As they ventured deeper into the forest, it became very dark. The trees seemed to grow taller and the kids were scared to death. Apart from that, they were also freezing. They brought out the snacks they had packed, ate some, and found a nice place to lay their head. In the morning, they started their journey, venturing into any path they come across, and also making sounds as they go to attract campers or hunters. Soon they were tired and decided to take a break. At this time, they are both very hungry but had nothing left to eat. Henschel asked Gretel to rest while he found them lunch. He had only walked a couple minutes when he saw a beautiful cabin in the middle of the forest. He hurriedly went back to inform his sister. But when he got back, his sister was nowhere to be found. He was certain that was the spot he had left her. He could also see their bags. But where could she have gone, he wondered. He searched the area around there but couldn't find her. He screamed and shouted her names in tears and horror, but she still wasn't responding. Henschel started imagining all the terrible things that must have happened to his sister. Suddenly, he noticed some adults' footprints in the area and he reasoned someone was there. It is either the person took his sister away or she ran away. Which would it be? As he was sitting there confused, he remembered what their mom always said to them whenever they go hiking in the woods. If we ever lose each other, keep making markers on your way so we can track each other. One such marker is using whatever tool is available to put marks on the bark of the trees along the way. So he looked around carefully, and soon thereafter he found the first tree that has a sister's mark, and he went on that path. Surprisingly, the signs led him to the same cabin he saw earlier. He knocked on the door, and a very beautiful woman answered with his sister standing behind her. They both screamed for joy and hugged each other tightly. The woman, whose name is Charlotte, watched in amazement. She took them in and asked what they were doing alone in the forest. Henschel looked at her intensely and suspiciously. Charlotte could sense his suspicions and asked to talk to them later. "But," Henschel said, "why did you take my sister from where I left her?" Charlotte narrated what happened. "I was in the woods hunting with my men when we saw a strange woman spying on a little girl. We decided to watch and see what's gonna happen. The woman hid behind a tree, and when she noticed the girl was looking away, she snuggled to where the bottle of water was and sprinkled some herbs inside the water. She gave a wicked smile and hurried back to the woods. This did not sit well with me and my men, so we walked up to her and asked that she come with us. Your smart little sister instantly refused and said she cannot leave without her brother. All attempts to make her come with us failed until we saw the woman heading back. Then we realized that it is utmost important that we take her along. After a brief convincing talk, she agreed, but on the condition that we help her create markers for her brother as we journey together, which we did. And thankfully, you made it to us. Charlotte took them to a very cozy and gigantic room and told them to feel free and ask for anything they need. As soon as she left, Henschel hugged tightly and told his sister how proud of her he was. "Is this going to be our new home?" she asked. "Well, I don't know, but let's see what lies in store for us." He began to observe carefully everything in the room, and his countenance began to soften. But still, he told his sister not to share any details about their family, as he wasn't sure if Charlotte can be fully trusted. It's been several days since the kids moved in, and Charlotte is concerned about who they were and where their parents are, as the kids have refused to reveal anything about their family. This really worried her. She isn't comfortable having someone else's kids in her home without the parents' consent. She decided to try once more, and this time, Henschel narrated the whole ordeal to her. As he speaks, she could sense fear and anxiety in his voice. So she asked that all three of them take a walk to get a breath of fresh air. On the way, she told them about various plants and animals that called the woods their home. Soon thereafter, they all returned to the cabin with newfound hope and appreciation for the kind stranger. Henschel told Gretel that Charlotte is a good person and can be their friend. Now, Charlotte was the princess in the neighboring village. She's attractive and beautiful in and out. Everyone loves and adores her. And because she's a nature lover, she would regularly visit her vacation home in the woods and spend a whole week away from people. And this was one such visit. After listening to the kids, she asked them what they wanted. Would they love to be taken back home, or they rather stay with her? They both responded that they loved to stay with her. 2 days later, she and her servants packed up and returned home. Her parents were surprised to see her with 2 unfamiliar kids. She explained everything to them and informed them of her desire to adopt them both. The parents liked the idea, but their only concern was about her fiancé, who is already engaged to her. They worry how he would react or accept this. She told them not to worry, that she had thought about all of that. So that evening, she met the prince, her fiancé, and told him about everything that happened. He could see how attached she already is to the kids. He could also sense that she genuinely cared about them. So he agreed that they adopt the kids, but they have to do it the right way. They need to visit their parents and make them face the law. On the other hand, Richard has been droopy since they abandoned his kids. He has been so downtrodden that his health began to depreciate. Taking advantage of this situation, Anna began slowly selling lands, properties, and shares. If anyone asks why she is selling those things in his behalf, she'd say, "He is sick, and we urgently need money for his recovery." She succeeded in transferring his assets to her name. Now it was time to strike the last blow, which was to hurt him. But she needed to do this in a way that is free of suspicions and wouldn't raise any eyebrows. But on a second thought, she thought about leaving him alone in the state he was in, and he will eventually die on his own. The day finally arrived for her to run away. She has packed all the valuables in the house, and as she came out to leave, she saw the palace entourage in front of their building. At first, she was wondering why they were there, But almost immediately she saw the kids and she became alarmed. She attempted to run away, but they caught her and arrested her. The guards went inside the house and took Richard as well. Henschel and Gretel ran to their father, and as soon as he saw them, he was revived and at once got up and held them in tears. The guards took them away, and the king passed judgment on them both. Charlotte was made the legal guardian of Henschel and Gretel. She loved and adored the kids, and she gave them everything a mother would give her children. And they all lived happily for the rest of their lives. And so, the story of Henschel and Gretel came to an end. Now, let's review some of the words we've learned in this story. The first word is recede. To move back or move away or to withdraw. She was too greedy to recede. The next word is blurted out. It means to say something abruptly without giving much thought. She blurted out. And the next word is aghast. This word means to be struck with terror, amazement, or horror, or shocked and upset. She was aghast. And then we've got ignited. This word means to set fire or to fuel a fire. Then we have bewildered. Bewildered. It means deeply confused, perplexed, or surprised. The next word is quittance or quittance. This word means to be discharged from a debt or an obligation. And then we've got lagging. Lagging. It means slowness or delay. He was lagging behind. Well, these are some of the few words we've learned in this story. There are lots more, but we picked out this few. Did you learn something new? If you enjoyed watching this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends as these help us grow. Thank you, and see you in our next story. Bye!